Hi, everybody. It is so wonderful to be here with Al and Jean Fike, all the way from Seychelles, Canada. And it is an honor today to delve into a conversation about divine love and soul and transformation. So I welcome you, Al and Jean Fike.
Lovely to be here with you, Rickie, and lovely to have a conversation about the soul.
Every conversation with you, Rickie, is filled with love and light and truth, and we're thrilled to be here.
Thank you very much. So, as we are starting, let me provide you with a little bit of bio because if we're going to write a bio about Al and Jean, it's going to be pages and pages. So, in a summary, and then we're going to delve into our conversation today. So,
It's only because we've lived a long
Yeah.
time that those pages would be long.
yes, that is, well, yeah, and your knowledge and your experience that you have accumulated with all years and years of practice and communion with the divine. And that's what it's all about. Within that conversation, people will experience the energy that you are bringing, both of you are bringing into it. Reverend Jean and Al Fike, founders of Divine Love Sanctuary Foundation, all the way from the heart of Sunshine Coast in British Columbia. Reverend Jean and Al Fike have spent nearly 5 decades guiding seekers towards deeper soul awakening and communion with the divine. As founders of the Divine Love Sanctuary Foundation, they serve as a luminous beacons of spiritual transformation, uplifting audience across continent through their teachings, workshop, and inspired presence. In 2015, they received ministerial ordination from the Foundation Church of Divine Truth in Hawaii. Al Fike is an accomplished trance medium of over 20 years, and he's also a former president of the First United Spiritualist Church in Burnaby. His lifelong psychic experience, celestial visions, spirit communication, and divine insight bridge the material and spiritual realm, offering transformative wisdom to those walking the path of soul consciousness. Al has recorded more than 2,000 transmissions from celestial spirits, stellar beings, and bright spirit through his international circle of light. He has published 5 books, and I know that there is another one coming in very soon, sharing the profound messages he has received. Jean Fike is a reverend and a spiritual mentor, as well as a retired community activist, long-time executive director of Burnaby Family Life. Her heart-centered leadership and tireless advocacy for vulnerable families have impacted generations. A gifted facilitator and healer, Jean works in partnership with her husband Al, and together they have traveled over 75 countries, nurturing spiritual growth, awakening inner gifts, and mentoring others on the journey to divine love. Their teachings span a wide spectrum of spiritual topics, including, but not limited to, soul consciousness, navigating the material mind versus the soul mind, divine love mediumship and development circles, progression through spiritual sphere, the laws of rapport and spirit communication, faith over fear. Their workshop series on divine love mediumship and development circles for the physical manifestation of celestial angels, stellar beings, and friends and bright friends has been widely attended and deeply impactful. With a global following drawn to their practical wisdom, radiant love, and refreshingly humorous approach, Jean and Al continue to inspire a vibrant spiritual community worldwide, whether you are a seasoned seeker, newly curious, Their message is grounding, light, an invitation to elevate your soul. It is a true honor to welcome this visionary soul, Reverend Al Fike and his beloved partner, Reverend Jeanee Fike, to this sacred conversation. And my name is Rickie Avitan. I'm a psychic trance medium, a spiritual healer, and I welcome you all. So as we are, it is incredible as I'm reading his bio. I'm just so much, oh my gosh, we captured everything. It is wonderful. So I would love to dive right into the core questions that we have today. Al, in your perspective, what is soul? There is so much conversation these days going about soul and consciousness. So give us your definition, if you will, of soul. What is, from your perspective, is soul?
It's interesting that there are many definitions out there, and soul almost becomes a cliche word in the world. My entire life has been devoted to exploring what soul is, and I don't feel like I am an expert or that I'm finished with that exploration, because the soul, which is the very essence of our being, is very complex and very different from what our material five senses mindful experience in life is. The soul is the part of us that continues on. The soul is the essence of who we are. And the soul has many gifts and qualities that are different from the material mind. And discovering and exploring what that is and what lies within the soul is more than a lifelong experience. I think it's an eternal experience. And as the soul starts to grow and awaken in the process of what we call divine love, then these faculties and abilities of the soul, these aspects of soul, start showing up and manifesting. The soul in itself is that core of feeling, of love, of true perception, of wisdom, of joy, of all the good and bright and wonderful things that we are as humans, expressed in the soul first and foremost, and originates from the soul, and then is expressed out into through our minds and our bodies and our material self and our spiritual self. So soul is a very different part of us. It's a different consciousness. It's that part that is divine.
Thank you, Al. As you're speaking, my brain, my inner brain just moving in all direction. And I love that you said the soul is part of our consciousness, because that brings me into our next. Is there a difference between consciousness and soul, or it's one part and parcel of another?
I think we live in a duality of consciousness. So our predominant consciousness is that of our material minds and our experiences on Earth, because we're living a material existence on this Earth plane. And because of that, and because of our cultural ways and programmings, the mind, the material mind, is the predominant part of us. It's our consciousness, our everyday consciousness. And yet, below that, beyond that, is another form of consciousness, which is the consciousness of soul. So how do you get to know the difference between the two? That again is a lifelong pursuit of mine. And I've discovered that I can attune myself to soul consciousness by putting aside the usual consciousness by going through a process of prayer and meditation and going into that deeper realm of our being. And of course, the mind wants to interfere. The mind is busy. The mind it brings in various distractions. The body even does that. There's all kinds of things that keep us from being in that consciousness of soul. But through consistent practice and effort, you begin to know the journey towards soul consciousness. You begin to travel that path from material consciousness to soul consciousness as you engage in regular and consistent prayer and meditation. And for me, prayer is when you're communicating with God. It's not a rote prayer. It's not something that you have to recite. It's those feelings and exercising the core desires within you, which I believe come from the soul. And then the response from God comes. And we'll talk about divine love a little later, but my soul is beginning to awaken in divine love. And I say beginning to awaken because I believe that awakening process is forever. It's eternal. So I'm just a beginner in this. And although I've been doing this for over 50 years, I'm still a beginner. I'm a novice. But I'm discovering what soul is. I'm discovering that the consciousness of soul is a tremendous resource for guidance, for wisdom. It knows things that the mind can't know. And the expression of that knowing and that experience of being within the soul and the soul connecting, communing with the creator of all is profound, and it is the most important aspect of my life, because that is where meaning comes from. That is where truth comes from. That is where love comes from. And these things, in my mind, and I've been a seeker since I was about 15 years old, these things are the most important things, and they're the most important questions. So these questions, in my experience, are not answered by the mind questioning, but of course the mind will question, will always question. But the true answers come from the soul. And that's why I pursue soul each and every day. That's why I come to understand that there is this duality within us, the consciousness of our everyday world and the consciousness of our soul.
As you're speaking, the energy just shift from the dense energy into this light, divine energy, and I'm just feeling it, and I'm very, I'm putting an effort in staying grounded.
Yeah, please
Because
stay grounded, Rickie.
Because as
We
you're
have to get
moving,
through this.
as you're moving through this conversation, I just feel as you both bringing with you the celestial, the divine, and it's here that is inspiring the knowledge that you are sharing with us now. Would you think, as I'm listening to your sharing, would you think that within our understanding of the duality that you spoke about, would we be able to merge both?
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying every day to do that, because if we can mix the two together, then we can move in the world with so much more wisdom and so much more love and so much more peace. And the problem with this duality is the mind goes along its usual path and often bringing into our experience in life a lot of pain, a lot of confusion, and a lot of judgment and fear. And this is the normal condition of humanity. You know, whether we want to admit it or not, this is often how we are in the world. And I even experience myself after all these years when I go out into the world, those loops of consciousness continue to move around. But if I can merge and bring the strength and the grace of soul consciousness into that, then it doesn't have the power it used to. It doesn't create the conditions and the chaos or whatever the negativity that it used to. I mean, I'm well aware of those things. I've experienced them in my life, and I've experienced my own choices towards those things in life that bring disharmony and pain and darkness and all that stuff. So I'm pretty well aware of my own duality, my own intentions and desires in the mental realm in my daily existence and motivations. But I'm also aware, and I'm also consciously trying to integrate the higher awareness, the higher desires of the soul to overlay and to transform and transmute those lower human conditions that I'm still dealing with, and I think we all deal with in life.
As long as
That's
we're on Earth, we'll be dealing with them. And I think you've nailed it with that question. And Al, consciously, I would say all my experiences with him, he's consciously trying to rise above the human condition into that soul place of being.
Thank you, Al and Jean. If I am getting it correctly, the benefit of being in attunement or tune in to our soul consciousness, to our soul mind, if you call it, is that we can experience the storm in our life and respond to it from a soul space, from a soul perspective. So our life are, yes, the storms are going to be there, the challenges and the conditions, we can't take them away, but we may be able to lessen them because our understanding is different, but also our dealing with it will be different. Would that be one of the benefit for us to gain an understanding of soul and consciousness and evolve and do the practice of prayer and meditation? Would you say?
Yeah, I think the perspective changes quite radically. Most people go through life, they don't see a purpose or an overall flow of sense of being and direction in their life. And with soul consciousness, that is one of the predominant benefits from it. One begins to see that all of these experiences in life are part of a growing process, of an awakening process, a strengthening of the soul and a strengthening of our personalities as individuals. We come here kind of innocent and we go through life building from that innocence to hopefully a substantial conscious individual who has a personality and an expression that's unique to them. So that's one part of that. You know, that those are, or that is one of the benefits. The other one is peace. You know, there's a sense of detachment when the soul is engaged. It's not so emotionally and mindfully involved in what others think and what's happening in the world, and a more common perspective is to be in judgment and to assess and to be hyper vigilant and all of those things as we move in the world. Where I think of myself, I use this analogy of being Mr. Magoo, the cartoon character who goes around and is a little absent-minded, is not so conscious of all the details and things that are going on in the world, because I'm kind of, in a way, with soul consciousness, you're kind of in your own world and looking out into the material world and dealing with things, of course. I mean, if you don't, unlike Mr. Magoo, you are going to fall down that open manhole or have trouble when you're on that skyscraper girder taking you up and all of those things. And I often wonder, with the protection and the perspective that I have, how many disasters have I avoided in my lifetime? How often have I been protected and guided? And how often has my own soul inclinations sent me down directions that were safe rather than dangerous? There are many, many benefits of soul awareness. They are active in everybody, but not everybody listens. In fact, most don't. So it's that listening, it's that deeper understanding and trust within soul consciousness that we all need to develop. And in that way, we can love more and we can make more informed decisions that are harmonious rather than one thing leading to another until there's a disaster. And of course, this world feels like it just teeters on disaster constantly, because what are we using in the world really to make our decisions? We're using the mental faculties, we're using our reason, we're using our baser feelings, our fears,
The
and
five
all of
senses.
that, five senses, etc. We're using things that are meant to be used. I mean, we're born with them and we have them, and it's a gift to have them. But there's a terrible imbalance there. We're meant to have both. We're meant to utilize both, put them together in a way that the soul wisdom overrides the inclinations of the mind and the body towards various desires that are not particularly healthy. And of course, none of us are there really. I'm not there. I try to be there, and sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. But I know the benefits of being there, and so I aspire to be there. And sometimes I get there.
I love the truth within the conversation. And there is a sense of grace as you both hear and speaking about this, that you're not telling us I've arrived, but you're telling us it's eternal, the growth. But you're also giving us the tools, the opportunity to say you can do it. Each and every one of us can explore and move into that space of soul growth. So that's where we can bring the duality less, with a lesser gap between the mind and the soul, but to live together. And that brings us harmony within self and harmony within each other, and hopefully eventually around the globe. Jean, I wanted to ask you, if I may, what have you've been with Al for most of your life?
They're still on probation.
We just had our
Still.
49th anniversary a couple of days ago.
Amazing. Where does God fit into your life?
Oh, what a huge and beautiful question to even try to attempt to answer, because well, we know in our souls we were guided together. We had mentors. It was divinely orchestrated, and it's the very center of our daily lives, our practice, our we live it, by many planned activities.
And we met through it.
Oh, yeah, we did, didn't we? Well, those were the days, weren't they?
Yeah.
You get me all Twitter pated now.
I told you you're funny. Ah,
Well, we begin every day with prayer. We love our alone times. We have the luxury of retirement now. And so we can put everything aside, and this is our primary. We're committed and devoted to working with a band of celestial angels that have been guiding us all our lives since we incarnated. And it's so, every day is an adventure with Al and the angels. Every day is an adventure.
yes.
It's a giant leap of faith. Al is more soulful than I am. He can, and with his spiritual gifts, he's so connected in ways that I'm not. My gifts are more with connecting with others. And so I think we're well suited, even though we're polar opposites in every way, we're well suited to work together on this path. You want to add something, dear?
Well, don't you feel we're guided every day?
Oh, yes.
And the opportunities come up for each of us, and together to serve and to support others, to just be in the world as expressing as much light as we can. And we started out pretty early and young and naive, and I was 22, and Jean was what, 26 or something?
I'm a cougar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just starting out in our lives, but we had discovered divine love very early in our lives through some beautiful souls that shared this truth with us. And so in the beginning of our relationship, the struggle was to how to integrate this, how to be loving to one another without having these differences show up and cause conflict. So that was many years of our life. Trying to figure that out. I think now we've kind of gotten there, because as you get older and wiser, and as our souls get more get brighter, that wisdom shows up and says, "Don't sweat the small stuff." Don't. We used to have the reputation as the baker sons. We used to bicker a lot over lots of little things because our approaches are so different. We're such different personalities, and yet we both get the job done. But how we get there is a difference of perspective. So in the mindful, conscious way, we had many challenges, and yet the soul consciousness knew that we were meant to be together, and that's what held us together.
It did. Otherwise, we never would have survived.
It's beautiful. I know, Jean, that you are playing a major role. Well, I would the word that comes to me in the admin perspective, to accomplish the worldwide entities, I would say, of the circles of light and the spread of divine love, and to bring in people. So as I understand that your role within here is to really to spread the work that Al is inspired to bring into humanity. Would that be correct to say?
Well, I think there's in spiritual realms or um, different pathways, there's planners and there's prophets. And I happen to be linked up with a prophet. And believe me, he didn't look like a prophet when we met. He was so skinny. He
That's
had
a long-haired
long
hippie.
hair. He had hair. He was a hippie and extremely introverted. And I, on the other
And
hand,
Sean,
oh my God, I was extremely extroverted and tried to, you know, uh, oh gosh, Rickie,
Bring it together.
yeah,
Mm. So although you are different in some aspects, but the soul, there
yes,
is that soul attraction that
yeah.
came together for a purpose. Isn't that beautiful? And you know, it brings me to think about our destiny. So there you are. He is hippie looking. You are different within your world. He's different within his world. And you come together for a single purpose, which neither of you had an awareness to start with. Where is destiny and free will fall into this?
Well, that was interesting because even before I met Jeannie, or I met her once, and then it was Christmas, and we kind of continued on in our connecting together. And I wrote something on the back of a
a
card that I
gift.
made for her, and I said that we're meant to work together, that we did have a destiny together.
It was
And
shocking.
I wrote that not out of my mind, but out of my soul. You know, I didn't even know what I was saying, basically. But I knew it. I knew it. And I wrote it and I said, we will work together with divine love for the rest of our lives. And so actually, we did know it
In our souls.
in our soul.
In our
So
souls.
that destiny, I think that understanding of destiny and purpose comes from there. You know, the mind can't possibly know. The mind can only speculate on things, but that knowing of knowing is definitely a soul
It's
quality.
it's certainly kept us together through all the trials and tribulations and challenges, and it was our souls that kept us together.
Incredible. This is a beautiful love story.
You got to
It is
come to our 50th party next year, Rickie.
absolutely, it is an incredible love story that is almost destined. And by listening to your mind, you have taken action because it is within your free will that you have taken action to bring together your destiny with that love story, to bring and to do what you're meant to do. I just love that. I just absolutely love that. And then it brings me to asking questions about divine love. Tell us, you are both are the founders of the Divine Love Sanctuary. What is it? What is all about? The practice, the purpose.
Are you going to start?
Prayer, 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 and more prayer for this divine essence to flow into your souls. And it's not an easy path. Um, it challenges us in so many ways to rise above the human condition, because on this planet, we're humanity, the mind is the dominant um, way of people interacting. And you pick up, dear.
Well, divine love is a truth that's been around for a long, long, long time. It's now that we've been connecting with extraterrestrials. They're saying that divine love is known throughout the universe. And they call it the glue that holds the universe together. And the glue, it is the essence that where the soul comes in, kind of formed but yet not complete. Then with this gift of divine love, which is the essence of God's soul, then it becomes complete. And that process of completion never ends. So it's, as I was saying earlier, the awakening process of the soul is ignited by this energy, this divine love from God. God is love. God is all love. God doesn't judge. God doesn't. He's not the father on the crown, on the throne that points fingers and judges and smites and all of that the Bible would have us believe. God is all love. God forgives. God embraces, and God wants to have a personal relationship with every individual, a personal one. And that can only happen if we decide we want it. And if we do decide that we want that relationship with God, then of course we've got to go beyond our mental conceptions of what that is and go into the soul that knows what it is. Because the soul is a reflection of God's soul. And the whole idea of the journey of the soul is to turn that reflection, that image of God into substance, to actually absorb the divine essence into us. And therefore, our souls then become substantial in those qualities of love and gifts and manifestations and blessings and light and all of that stuff. So the whole idea of what we've been teaching all these years in so many different places with so many different individuals is go to your soul and ask God to receive this gift of divine love. You got to ask. You got to ask because it's not given otherwise. And it is a blessing, and I believe a privilege to have this blessing, because we can go along in life without it. We can explore the consciousness of the mind for a long, long time and into spirit and all of that. And there are planes in spirit that reflect those individuals who are very adept and very pure and very lovely souls, but they lack that ingredient that brings them further, because our goal is to enter into the celestial kingdom. And the celestial kingdom, as our celestial friends call it, is beyond any sphere in the spirit world. It's beyond that. And some of the spheres in the spirit world are pretty mind-blowing, are pretty amazing. So this is beyond amazing. This is, as our guides want to say, it's indescribable. The joy and the beauty and the knowledge and the love that and the light that is part of that reality. And so I believe that as we encourage our soul consciousness, we're changing our sense of reality. We're changing our sense of who we are and who everyone else is and what life is. This comes because our soul's perceptions open up and awaken us to this. And it comes because the divine love, which comes incrementally, it's not just one shot and we're done. It's a blessing that comes over and over again. That's why Jeanne says prayer, 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 because that's how you get it. So the awakening and the transformation comes slowly, incrementally as we go along. So even though we've been doing this 50 years, and some I've heard the comment from some people, well, aren't you
Yeah.
fully awakened yet? After 50 years, show us, what have you got, that kind of thing. And really, it's a humbling experience to realize that, we start from a very rudimentary place, and to go where we want to go, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of time, but it's steady, it's consistent. And we feel the difference. We feel different from
And
what
a
we were.
host of celestial
We're,
angels
we're
guiding us.
yes, indeed.
And
And we're no longer the Bickersons. So that's a good indication.
yeah.
I love I'm going to adopt it. I'm going to write it right there in front of me. The soul reflection, the soul reflection, the reflection of God essence. And then we are partners in this. And so by us asking through the linking, through the prayer for God essence to flow into us through that divine prayer, that we can link and attune the reflection of God, soul reflection and God essence together to make our life easier, to be in that space, to elevate self, and to lead us into the direction of the path of God, the will of God, which makes our life so much easier and brighter and lighter.
Yeah, exactly. And otherwise, you walk through life with one eye,
With one eye.
just one perspective. And yet, with the soul, you have this stereoscopic perspective of life that brings you to God and brings the relationship to God real. It makes it real, palpable, tangible. And when I received divine love, I always think of this tube that goes up to God, and it gets infilled, and the energy comes down through this channel and enters into my soul, because the soul is in the solar plexus. It's within the center of our being, not up here in the head. Some people have the experience of receiving divine love through their crown chakra, but generally you experience it through the solar plexus area. And when I first experienced it, it was like a burning. It was a pressure and a burning in that area. And I thought, oh, I must have an ulcer. There's something wrong here. And but then I came to realize, no, this is a palpable and powerful energy blessing that we can receive, and it does have its effects even on the body.
Yeah. How would you be able to give us a sample of a prayer to our viewers? How do you pray for divine love?
Well, any prayer to God, I have come to understand, needs to be sincere. It needs to come from the heart. It needs to have intention and potency in desire. And when those things come together, and if you pray from your soul, and it's hard to pray from the soul, because we hardly know our soul. But if you pray from that part of yearning for God, then the words come pretty easily. The words are often simple but eloquent, and are filled with emotion. And the power of that feeling is transmitted to God. That's what brings the connection. So I always pray, dear God, open my soul to a great inflowing of your divine love. Awaken me with that love. May you purify my soul with your love. May I come to know you with the faculties and perceptions of my soul that your love will bring to me. May you put the cloak of protection around me from all darkness and low conditions and spirits. May I live in light, and may light surround me always. May you guide me each and every day. May I know your guidance. May it be clear, and may I have the strength and humility to act upon your guidance, whatever that might be. So that's a simple prayer there.
And as you are saying that simple prayer there, we felt it. I felt it. We felt it. That energy just imbued us here. And everything just shifted. As you just gave us this sample of prayer, everything just shifted in here. It's just incredible. Incredible. Thank you for sharing this gift with us. So, as we are nearing just about the end of our interview here together, Jean, would you like to share anything with us here today?
Oh my goodness, my heart is so full, Rickie. Nothing concrete comes to mind except this is just so worthwhile for us. We have found this divine path, this glorious path, and um, we love opportunities to share it with beautiful people like you and lights in the world. And so we're open to that.
Very much, Jean. Al?
Well, interestingly, Jean is the feeling one. She's the one brimming with emotion. She always has been. That was what drew me to her in the beginning. I was kind of shut down and very much defended and quiet and all of that. So she helped to open me up to myself. And that helped me open up to my inner self, the soulful self. So I believe that the key to awakening is through being honest and true with yourself, to not carry a bunch of pretenses and cultivate ideas and thoughts about who we should be in the world and what is acceptable. I had an experience once, and this might be a good example of it, where I was a landscape gardener all my life, and I loved it. It was quite a blessing to be able to do that and be out in nature all the time. And it was very harmonious with my personality and the spiritual, because it is very spiritual. I was at a garden and I saw a little tree. It was a little holly tree. It was a miniature. It was tiny. It was kind of cute. And I was into topiary at the time. This is years ago when topiary was a big deal in the gardening world. And so I can do something with this tree. So I took it and I reshaped it. I took out branches and I accentuated other ones. And I made this kind of swirling expression of the tree with a little pom-pom thing on top. And then I thought, oh, it's lost here. It was down in the bottom of this big rockery garden. So I dug it up and I put it up top on the where it was could be seen. And I'm standing there admiring it, and I could feel angelic presence coming over me. And I thought, well, the owner of the home, this is a private home, was not there. I'll just let this happen. So sure enough, I got overshadowed, and we have a guide, Augustine. So he comes, he says, he proclaims to me in my head, he's speaking in my head, this is your teacher, Augustine. This is pathetic. He said, this is pathetic. What you've done to this tree, this creation of God, is pathetic. And he gave me a picture of what that, the healthy looking tree full in its correct form would should be. And he said, and so you do this to yourself. He said, you accentuate things that you think others will approve of and accept. And you remove vital parts of yourself and do not express them and repress them because you're afraid of what people think. And you have just expressed this whole perspective with this tree. So he said, think about that. And I have all my life thought about that. And I was only like 26 or 7 or something at the time. And, that's when image is so important. And it's been a very valuable lesson. That has been a great boon to both of us. The teachings of our beautiful celestial friends whom have come very often and have brought copious amounts of wisdom to our lives. So that's another benefit of awakening the soul, because if you don't have a soul that at least has some divine love in it, you won't have a very strong connection with your celestial friends who are completely transformed by divine love. So I would urge people to explore what it means to be of soul, this vital part of you that so many of us neglect and don't know about, to try and strive towards a balance of putting the two minds together in a harmonious way. Look into divine love. Say a prayer for divine love. See what happens if you do that. And ask God to guide you in such a way that you'll come to know and understand your soul, and to realize what an incredible gift the soul is and what it can offer you. The resources of the soul are phenomenal, and they're available to everybody. We all have one. We just don't know it. Many of us don't, anyway.
That's beautiful. I love the tree, and it left such a lasting impression of you. Is we have to live life from an authentic space, from a soul authentic space.
And I
And
forgot one part of that story. And when the customer came home and looked at that tree, she said, I hate that tree. Put it back. I've never liked that tree. Somebody who gave it to me, I didn't like, so that's why I put it in the bottom of my garden hidden. So there's another lesson there.
there is another lesson there. So, where can we find you if people are wanting to join? I do know that you have some retreats coming up and plans for 2026. And where can people find you and how?
DivineLoveSanctuary.ca.
No, .com, dear. It used to be CA.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
And
Divine Love.
YouTube and Facebook and WhatsApp. And yes, we keep going as long as we can.
Yes, and we have a site called soultruth.ca that has all the messages received, transcribed, edited, and published on that website. And we're planning in September a month-long trip to Europe. We're going to London, outside of London, a place called Harrow. We're doing a workshop there for 5 days. We're also going to Estonia, and we're doing some workshops there. And we're also going outside of Paris to Fontainebleau and doing workshops there. So we're busy, and we're also having 14 people come to our home in a couple of days, actually, for a week-long mediumship workshop. We're also going to Barbados and having some workshops there. It's ongoing. I mean, we're booked about a year in advance these days, so it's not that we're traveling constantly because we're too old for that, but we're doing what we can. And we have online circles, which are open to the public, more or less. And that's 3 days a week on Tuesdays and Fridays and Sundays. So we have lots going, and there's a newsletter. There's we're on Facebook, and we're on YouTube, and
There's
on
only one person I
Instagram.
can think of that's busier than us, and that's Rickie.
Yeah, Rickie is busier than
Yeah.
us. That's true.
And what a
She's a little
pleasure.
younger.
Always, always such a delight to be with you.
Thank you. I will post all your contact information and how people can find you and reach you. And your books are all on Amazon. And we'll place the names of the books once we publish the YouTube. From the bottom of my heart, from the depth of my soul, I want to thank you both, Al and Jeanee Fike, and incredible people, beacons of light, truly beacons of light. And again, my name is Rickie Avitan, all the way from British Columbia, Canada. It has been a pleasure and an honor to be with you here today. God bless all of you who are going to be viewing, watching, listening, and praying for divine love, because it's truly transformative experience and movement and evolution in time and space, where you pray for the inflow of God love, God essence into your soul. You will experience what Al was describing. And it is within that, the experience, that you come to understand it truly. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Rickie. We enjoyed our conversation, and indeed, it takes one to know one. You are another light in the world, and you're doing wonderful work, and we appreciate all that you do to help others and to help them understand who they are. Thank you for that.
Thank you all. Thank you.
God
Thank you very
bless.
much.